Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of the latest episode of The Bachelorette. Okay, you know what? I wish that I had time to get everyone a gift. Oh wait, actually, maybe I can. Maybe I'll just take off my socks and put them in a box and then hand them to you guys like Bennett did Noah.
I really like that they ended this episode like they did the movie Seven, where she's like, "What's in the box? What's in the box?" I was waiting for Brad Pitt to come around the corner and start yelling, "What's in the box?"
How did I not think of Seven when I was watching? Okay, we could do 30 minutes, just about the final 5 minutes. It was so weird.
We are definitely going to talk about what's in the box and whether or not Bennett was like being genuine, or if he was really trying to continue to poke Noah, or was it kind of in the middle?
I also am still trying to answer this question. Do I like Bennett or do I hate Bennett? Like, I'm really struggling with an answer here, but before we get into it, if you guys do enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel, the best way to make sure you don't miss any of our weekly discussions on The Bachelorette.
Okay, let's talk about the box. So, when he was first putting it together and he's kind of like, "I'm not playing games here and I'm putting things in this box," I was just like, okay, is this box actually gonna be a game? Is he actually trying to help him? Because there was a couple of things that he pulled out of the box where I was like, maybe he is actually trying to, you know, with the bandana, and it's like, this is what this represents, and the mustache socks where it felt like he was like, we're gonna try to have like a smile together about the mustache socks. Then he pulled out the book, and then I was like, okay, the book is obviously feels like a more sort of aggressive gift, but it can have a good intention behind it. It's just very hard to give someone you don't know a book, but it's clearly a book that he's brought with him. So it's a book that's helped him, that he's read. He's clearly read it. He knows a lot about it, that he's then trying to pass on to somebody else to be, but it's his delivery of it where it's like, you have one of these 4 things, you are missing 3 other things. That's the part where I was like, okay, I'm just not really sure. Like, is it his delivery is bad, but he's like, I think this could actually help you?
I really wish I had a good answer to this, because I will say the book, it had some yellow page action going on. So clearly that book's been around the block a few times with Bennett. I think in some ways he's genuine with some of the stuff that he says. Like, I do think that Bennett, he feels like that book has helped him. And I think he even said to Noah, when I was your age, I did not have the emotional intelligence either. And that's why there is a part of me, a crazy part of me, that thinks that maybe Bennett just actually does believe that he's doing the right thing in these situations. Because I don't get the sense that Bennett is some horrible person. Do I think that he can be very much like a full trip down Tool Avenue? Absolutely, I do. And he can be pompous, he can be arrogant.
And I get the feeling that some of it is played up just a little bit here, because even if you go to his Instagram, it is very bougie Instagram. Like, it feels like he's playing a bit of a character and he's trying to, you know, play it up sort of thing. Because we get these kind of glimpses behind all the bouginess of him where it's like, oh, Bennett just seems like he's kind of a regular person underneath, but he's putting all this bouginess on as almost like a wall.
It almost feels like he's like going to open mic night trying to like tell jokes to an audience, but the problem is he's not really a comedian, so he's just going up there and it's not delivering and the audience is just like staring back at him. Like, I think he probably thought in his mind, unless he was just being legitimately passive aggressive, but he may have just thought, oh, this is something, you know, I've told Noah that he's a child, I can give him this book, maybe I'm being genuine, if nothing else, it'll be a fun thing, he'll see that I've put effort into him. By the way, him, like, remembering bandanas and, like, certain conversations that he's had with Noah, has Bennett paid more attention to Noah than he has Tayshia this season?
Well, that's why there was parts of the gift that felt pretty genuine when he pulled out that bandana and started talking about parts of conversations that he remembered with him. I was like, okay, there is actually some parts of this that feel quite genuine. And I kind of wondered if Bennett was starting to look at Noah as sort of someone that he could mentor, something along those lines, but he's just lives on Tool Street, so it's very difficult for him to actually sort of express what he's trying to do. And the bigger problem is that if that's where he's going with it, Noah has to want it, and he has to want to feel like you're someone that I can look up to be mentored by, but Noah doesn't respect him or look up to him, in my opinion.
This is not Big Brothers Big Sisters. This is The Bachelorette. Noah did not come on this show to look for a mentor and have this be a man who drew a picture of all the different, actually no, he molded with clay all the different houses that he and Tayshia were going to live in. Like, this is a ridiculous human being. And, you know, Bennett, I have found you very entertaining. The producers probably loved every second of you in this episode.
And we will see you in paradise, but you are probably going home. There was that moment that he repeated that he felt like he was talking to someone who was a 14-year-old and then tried to use his age difference with him to be like, I'm like 11 years older than you, so it's like talking to a 14-year-old. That's not how it works. Noah's still like 26 or 25 years old. He's not 14. Just because you have that age difference doesn't mean anything. Like, I'm 45, and one of my brothers is like 31, and my other brother is like 28. I don't talk to them and think like because I'm like 14 and, you know, 16 years older than them, that means that they're 16 when they're like 30.
Here's the thing, Bennett. You know, you give Noah this book about emotional intelligence, but I think it is social intelligence that I think you lack. I do not think Bennett has the social ability to understand what other people think of him. And I don't know if that's, he hasn't had those conversations with people. People have just found his shtick to be really entertaining, and at times it can be really entertaining. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing when Bennett was putting together this package for some reason in his room.
There's just something about Bennett that I wish we had had a chance to learn more about, because we're going to talk about this art date, which is actually one of my most favorite dates that I've seen on the show. I really liked it. I was concerned at first everyone's going to come in and have to take their clothes off again, like all the guys were. I'm like, here we go again. Everybody take off your shirt. But so this ended up being a really, really telling date. We got to know the guys really, really well. And it was such a good date. It really was.
It was a good date, and that is where probably the most interesting thing that Bennett said this whole episode comes from. And, you know, we had our discussions about privilege, and he made it clear that he didn't always, you know, have the life that he has, and I really wish we kind of got to know more of what that was, because we've gotten to know personal backstories with a lot of these other people. Maybe it would help us to understand why Bennett walks around like a ridiculous human being now.
Yeah, even as you said, his artwork is like, here's our house in France and here's our house in the Hamptons, and it feels like a character that he's playing. But clearly Noah touched on like a nerve inside of Bennett when he was just like, oh, you and your privilege, and Bennett was just like, you don't know me. And it made me kind of think like, well, then let us know you. Instead of creating this clay thing of like, here's our house in the Hamptons, how about tell us what it is? Like, did you then not come from privilege and you're made your way? Like, what is it? What happened here that got you to here? If Noah's saying, oh, you come from privilege, and Ben's like, you don't know me.
It was a major missed opportunity on his part. I
think so too.
Like, he had a real opportunity to not be kind of jokey and actually get kind of sincere and we get to talk about one of your own favorites who we haven't mentioned in a while, Riley. How did Riley not get the rose on this date? Like, Riley, we love you, Riley. We would have given you, you know, I don't think you want the rose from me, Riley, but I would
give you all the roses, Riley. No, I thought it was great to have Riley get more screen time, because he had all the screen time at the beginning and I was so excited about him. And then he just kind of got lost in the middle here where he hadn't been getting as much screen time. And then he did his art piece about his relationship with his mom, and he explained a little bit later on sort of divorce, and he was more with his dad and the things his dad would say, you know, kind of pulled him apart from his mom and stuff. And there's a lot of us out there that have gone through having divorced parents, and sometimes sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. But when it does happen, it's really difficult. So, I mean, I saw that with Riley and I was just like, wow, this is a really powerful, relatable story to a lot of people.
It was an important, deep conversation. You know, Riley established himself. He seems just like a real, genuine person from what we've seen. You know, I really, if he doesn't get picked, I hope he gets to be a part of Bachelor Nation. If he wants to, moving forward, it's just been... Listen, you know, we understood and got to know you a little bit better, and I appreciate that, but... Taking off your clothes was not what she asked. Like, it was to do a self-portrait. I didn't need to see it. I think we were fine.
Now, you guys know that I am not a fan of the take off your clothes thing in general on this show. But this did feel a little bit different, where he was trying to be more like vulnerable in front of everybody, to be like, this is who I am. This is all of me, a vulnerable... all of me sort of thing. And I get kind of where he was going with that.
Yeah, I understand, and I appreciate him opening up about his own issues that he's gone through in the past. And that's just, I didn't necessarily need the physical showcase of it and the way in which he presented it, but I understand his intention. And I think there's a lot of like weird intentionality in this episode where, you know, guys may have a certain intention for what they're doing, Bennett included, but their delivery of it may be a little off or uncomfortable or not hitting properly for some of the other people. And, you know, I got a sense of some people really love what Ben did. Some people may not have loved what Ben did. But it is an episode with all sorts of just weird stuff going on. And the date with Zach, I think, is going to be interesting for some time now. Yeah. He has gone through a lot.
And yes, he has. But it was really good to get to know him a bit better because I didn't really know a lot about him. I just knew that there was some chemistry there with Tayshia. But yeah, it was good to get to know him. He's been through a lot.
And it's one of these sort of things where you kind of hear constantly about, okay, here is the, you know, quote unquote reformed bad boy. And you know, he's not a stereotype. He's somebody who's clearly had a lot of difficult experiences in his life, and he's trying to sort of get to the other side of them and show other people exactly who he is and what he can do. It is a lot for someone like Tayshia. You know, Zach is older. He's been through a lot, and I don't know... Like, I don't know if she's going to be on that level, but I get why she is so attracted to him.
Yeah, there's a maturity that comes with him where he has been through a lot and he's gotten out on the other side of it sort of more worldly, understanding himself more of who he is and what he wants and how he's going to get there. And there's something very attractive about someone who knows who they are. And even if you had to go through the hard stuff to figure out who you are, or if you didn't as well, but you know who you are. I mean, there's something really attractive about that.
And I think that she appreciates his bluntness, and I think she appreciates his honesty in this episode, because let's face it, so many guys, they know they're on TV when they're asked serious questions.
Bennett.
Yeah, or, you know, they'll either...
Well, it's true, right? Like, we've seen tiny glimpses of Bennett behind the curtain, but mostly it's just him joking and pompous and bougie, and it's like, okay, great, but I actually don't think that he's like this all the time. That is exhausting to keep up.
I'm sure it is, and I think you have guys like him who maybe are playing a character, and you have guys who are afraid of saying things about their past, and here is Zach who's willing to basically spell out everything to the point where, you know, he admits in the preview to having cheated in a past relationship, and that bringing back the lie detector thing. And
oh my god, that lie detector thing. I'm not going to sit on this too long, but man, I hate this when it comes into the show, because there was like a date years ago, I think it was with Andy, where she brought everybody on the lie detector date or whatever, and it was the absolute worst date I've ever seen, and I'm really not looking forward to this at all. I think I just don't like it. It makes it feel like she already doesn't trust them by putting them through something like this. Like, this is something you should never have to put your lover through. Like, it's so awful. I don't like it at all.
I don't like it either. I don't know if they're just running out of ideas because they're all stuck in a resort. But if you were able to stage, you know, a freaking haunted house in the middle of this hotel, there is probably, 1,000 ideas that you could do for a date that are better.
I would even rather have just seen a bunch of little, like, cafe-style dates. Have them all have, like, you know, speed dating and everybody sitting at another little coffee table and she just hops around to all the tables. Anything other than this.
I just think also they had to know while they were filming this. We're all going through some stuff right now in America. Like, I think we need escapism. We don't need The Bachelorette to turn into, you know, an episode of Maury or like one of these other shows where you put them through the lie detector test.
It's just not fun. It's really dark. There's no trust in it. And what I like about this show is watching people build trust and build these relationships and build these connections. And once you're putting somebody through a lie detector test, then like it's gone. Like there is no building anymore. Now it's, I don't trust you. Put this on and answer my question. I don't know. I don't like it.
I think in general, the part of this season I'm having the hardest time with is that we're kind of in like this really heavy territory with stuff right now. And there's a difference between, you know, heavy stuff in the sense of what Ivan and Tayshia were talking about last week that is like powerful and legitimately like really, really important. But then, you know, seeing stuff like a lie detector test coming up or, you know, the ridiculousness of the Bennett Noah stuff, which started fun, but then just kind of got kind of uncomfortable at the end of it and wasn't really that interesting anymore. And, you know, I don't want to say too much about the easy date because there's stuff out there on the internet that just I'm not really interested in talking about easy all that much. You know, he's gone from the show.
He's gone from the show, and I mean, there just didn't feel like there was a connection there. She hadn't really been spending a lot of time with him, and even on the date, it was just kind of like, I don't know, I just didn't feel anything there. And this show loves putting people on scary type dates where they're throwing you off a cliff or jumping you out of a plane or putting you in a haunted house because I guess a lot of times if you're scared, you're clutching onto that person, whatever. Yeah. But I mean, these dates can also go kind of sideways as well. I remember a long time ago, I went on a date with a guy who took me to a haunted house and it did not work out. Like, I am not into dates like that. So if I'm going to be taken somewhere where I'm going to be scared and I have to like sit like this, I'm too soft for these kinds of dates. I'm not into it, man.
I don't want to go to a haunted house at any time. Like, I don't care what the occasion is. It's like, no. I want to feel good. I want to feel happy. Like, you know, let's go, you know, at a safer time. Let's go just get some food or, you know. I don't
want to be screaming the whole time, get me out of here, which is what my date was like.
That's just not, this is a terrible date to put people on. There was no, I mean, granted, it's not as though we've had like a real array of super romantic dates. Need we remind everyone of the let's burn stuff date that Claire and poor Jason went on earlier this season. Yeah,
I mean, that date actually could have been romantic if they just got rid of that part. Having them by a campfire and whatever, like outside, that could have been great.
Yeah, like there are things about this season that I think are pretty good. Like the art date, like you said.
The art date was great. Tayshia in general, just great. I really enjoy her as the Bachelorette. She's, you know, she's funny, she's charming, and she's not taking any crap. Like, I get where she's coming from with this Noah and Bennett stuff, that she's just like, guys, this is so petty. And now it's like, you know, kind of circling around everything else I'm doing. Like, let's deal with it. And one of you got to go. And I get it.
This may be sacrilege, but can I say that I didn't really miss Chris Harrison after he left this time? Like, JoJo did just fine being like, here is your date card, or here, you two go and talk with Tayshia.
I missed Chris, but that's just because he feels like he is part of the show. JoJo did great, though. Yeah. I mean, it felt like, yes, Chris was missing, but JoJo, yeah, she definitely filled in very well. But I miss Chris. It's like watching Survivor without Jeff. And, you know, there's something there. Big Brother without Julie. You gotta have your host there. It's like watching Dancing with the Stars. Oh boy, here
we go. Okay, see, I will probably
No, it's not like that. JoJo was really great.
I will miss Chris probably next week if there's a rose ceremony that he's not at. It will then feel weird to me.
I'm excited if there's a rose ceremony next week and JoJo gets to do it. I want to see what she does with that. I think that's going to be cool.
I just will miss the deadpan. Gentlemen, it's the final rose tonight. It's like, yeah, Chris, we can all see it. There's one rose there. This is not a surprise.
JoJo can bring that too.
JoJo, we want to see your delivery of guys, this is the final roast tonight, because you know producers are going to make you do this as though we're idiots.
No, I want to see that.
Okay, well, let's get you guys' thoughts on all of this. Are you Team Bennett? Are you Team Noah?
Or are you Team Tayshia? Kick them both out.
I would understand if you were on that team at this point. We've had our fun with Bennett, but it is sort of one of those situations where you just kind of know sometimes. It's like you got this popcorn that you've been eating for a while, but then you realize it's starting to go bad. And
well, it's weird, too, because Bennett's not wrong. She is not going to end up with Noah.
She's not wrong.
Noah is not for her. The chemistry is not there. You can see it with other guys. It's not here with Noah. Bennett's not wrong, but it's time for both of them to go.
Yeah, Bennett's just you don't have to say everything that's on your mind, Bennett. Trust me, it will be okay. But anyway, let us know what you thought about this episode, and if you like this video, subscribe, give us a like, support us further by checking those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.